Hi, welcome to our video on the Amiga 500. We'll be using Workbench version 1.3 for this video, but you'll find that the operation of Workbench is very similar with all versions, the only difference being that a few programs may not appear on the other versions. You'll also notice the different coloured screen. This was done to allow you to see the screen better, and we'll show you how to do this yourself during the video. Let's start by describing the computer so you'll know the names and the parts of it as we discuss them. The body of the Amiga 500 is called the main unit. In it we have a central processing unit, commonly called the CPU. The CPU is the electronics which control the computer. Additionally, there are programs and routines which work with the computer's disk operating system, which have been placed in the computer by the manufacturer. They're found in special chips called ROM, which stands for read-only memory. The computer can only read this information, it cannot write over it, hence the term read-only. Random access memory, or commonly called RAM, is an area where the computer stores information for the programs you're using. Information is only stored in RAM temporarily, and when the computer is turned off or reset, the information in RAM is lost. There are two types of RAM: chip RAM, which the CPU and other support chips address directly for graphics and sound, and fast RAM. This is memory which you can add to enhance the abilities of your computer. Next on the main unit we have the keyboard. The keyboard has the same keys as a normal typewriter, plus some additional keys. They are the escape key, the function keys, the delete key, the help key, the cursor keys, and the numeric keypad. To each side of the spacebar are the Amiga, Commodore, and alternate keys, and finally the control key. The uses of these keys can vary from program to program. There are also two lights on the main unit, one red to tell you that the power is on, one green which lights when the disk drive is being accessed. On the side of the main unit is a built-in disk drive. This accepts 3.5-inch double-sided, double-density floppy diskettes. The disk drive is referred to as DF0 for disk floppy 0. If you have an external disk drive, then it's referred to as DF1, and so on. The disk drive reads and writes information to both sides of the diskette, commonly called a disk. The disk drive has a button for ejecting the disk from the drive mechanism. The power pack is separate to the computer and also contains the on-off switch. On the back of the computer are the ports for connecting additional items to the computer main unit. From left to right are Joy 1 and 2. Your mouse connects to Joy 1. Before connecting the mouse, be sure to remove the foam packer from the mouse ball. Leave room beside your computer to move it around. You'll need about 30 centimetres by 30 centimetres. We recommend that you purchase a mouse mat, as this will make it easy to use, and clearly define an area for its operation. The mouse has two buttons. The one on the left is the selection button, the one on the right is the menu button. Joy 2 is for connecting a joystick primarily for games. Audio out connectors are for connecting your computer to a monitor or stereo system. Use the cables which come in the box. The disk drive connector is for connecting an external disk drive. Then we come to two types of standard communications ports, which allow a wide variety of additional peripherals to be attached to your computer. The serial port, commonly used for modems and serial printers. The parallel port, used to attach parallel printers and other devices such as hard disk drives. Power connector for the power supply unit. RGB monitor connector. This accepts the RGB monitor plug or the RF modulator for connecting to a television or monochrome monitor. Use a small screwdriver to attach the plugs to the ports. Be sure not to over-tighten the screws. When you're connecting additional equipment, remember not to have the computer on, as this may damage it. Check you've removed the disk head protector, which is sometimes placed in the computer during shipping. Simply press the disk eject button to check if your computer has one. The computer retrieves and saves information via a magnetic floppy disk. These disks come in a protective casing of various colours. All disks have a write protection tab on them. To enable you to write to a disk, the tab should be in the down position. That is, the hole should be closed. Placing the tab in the up position enables you to see through the hole and prevents you destroying or accidentally changing information on the disk. It's a wise practice to always leave the disk in the up position. The computer will tell you when it's unable to write to a disk. There are a number of important things to remember about the care of your disks so that you don't lose information. Never place your disks near a large magnetic field. Because information is stored magnetically on the disk, external magnetic fields can corrupt the information on your disk. Don't leave disks near speakers, telephones and televisions. Heat is a danger to disks as they expand, so never leave your disks in the sun. Don't bend or physically abuse the disks. They're delicate. Never touch the disk surface with your fingers. People store static electricity, which can cause data loss. Also, grease, sweat and grime can physically damage the disk surface. Try to keep your computing area as clean as possible and store your disks in a dust-free drawer or box. Before we go any further, there are a number of new words you'll need to learn. Click. Click means to press the selection button, the left-hand button of the mouse, once and once only. Double click, the same as click but twice and only twice. Icon. An icon is a small picture that appears on the screen and represents either a disk, directory, program or data file. The operating system knows them correspondingly as disks, drawers, tools and projects. Directory. An area on a disk which is assigned a name for storing information, the same as a drawer of a filing cabinet for letters and things. Root directory. The uppermost part of the directory tree. This is the area shown when you open a disk. For example, the names of the drawers you're allowed to choose in a filing cabinet. Subdirectory. A directory created and is part of another directory. For example, a drawer within another drawer of a filing cabinet. The parent directory is the directory from which a subdirectory was created, and the current directory is the one you're currently working in. A device is a piece of equipment able to be accessed by a computer, for example, a printer or a disk drive. We're ready to start up, power up or boot up. Now, these all mean the same thing. Make sure all plugs are secure and you have the disks which came with your computer package and a couple of blank disks. Turn the power on at the wall, turn the monitor power switch on, and if you have a printer, turn it on as well. Turn the power pack switch on. A red power light will come on, and in a couple of seconds a symbol like this will appear on your screen. Before placing a disk in the disk drive, be sure the write protection tab is in the up position. Take the disk labelled Amiga Workbench and place it in the internal disk drive, DFO. You'll hear a noise. You'll also notice the green drive accessing light on the main unit come on. This is to let you know that the computer is reading or writing to the disk. Never remove a disk if this light is on. If you do, you may create what is known as a read-write error. We'll discuss how to fix this type of problem later in the program. This could also physically damage your disk drive. You'll see a screen appear with the copyright and version numbers of the Workbench. Also, other writing will appear. This is the computer reading and acting on commands in a file called the startup sequence, which is stored on disks which can self-start. They're commonly called bootable disks. In a short time, a screen with a bar across the top will appear. This is called the screen title bar. You can see the words Workbench Release and a number. This refers to the amount of available RAM memory. Two small pictures of a disk will appear to the right of the screen, with one having the word Workbench and a version number beneath it, and the other with the word RAM. These are called disk icons. They represent the disks that can be accessed by the computer. The Workbench is now loaded and operable. In the top left corner is an arrow which is called the pointer. This relates to the mouse, and when the mouse is moved, then the pointer moves also. If you run out of room to move your mouse, simply pick it up and move it to where you do have room. The pointer will only move if the mouse is pushed along a surface. Don't panic if it feels awkward. After a little practice, you'll find this is an efficient way of operating your computer. Before we do anything to our Workbench disk, we should make a backup copy of it. This will allow us to make alterations to the disk and still have the original if anything should go wrong. We suggest you make backup copies of all your original disks if possible. The manual which comes with each disk usually tells you if you can make a backup copy, and if so, how to go about it. Check that the Workbench Disk's Copy Protection tab is in the up position. Click once with the selection button on the icon of the Workbench disk. You'll see it change colour. This indicates the icon has been selected. Now hold down the menu button. That's the right button of the mouse. You'll see the title bar change from the words which were written to three separate words. They are Workbench, Disk, and Special. These are called menus. Move your pointer over the word Workbench. A list appears below. These are called menu options. Move your pointer down the menu options. Notice that some of the options can't be highlighted. This means they're not available. Place your pointer over the word Duplicate to highlight it, then release the menu button. The pointer will change to a small cloud with Z's in it. This is the wait pointer. This indicates that the computer is processing information. Next, a rectangle will appear in the top left corner of the screen. These rectangles are called system requesters. They'll appear when the system is prompting you to take a certain step. Read the message, and when you've taken the step indicated, click the selection button on the gadget you wish. Continue or cancel. For duplicate, the requester will ask you to place the source or from disk, which is the disk you wish to duplicate, in DF0. Now click Continue. You'll see the computer begins to read the information from the disk. When it has read as much as it can, the computer will stop, and another system requester will appear with the name of the disk you are duplicating. Place a blank disk in DF0, this is your to disk, and again click Continue. If you've left the Write Protection tab on the blank disk in the up position, the computer will tell you via a system requester. Follow the prompts and continue. The computer will now write the information it has in memory to the blank disk. It then verifies this information. When finished, the other requester will appear asking for your source disk. It may take 3 or 4 disk swaps to complete the copying procedure, depending on how much system memory your computer has. When it's complete, you'll see a disk icon appear with the words Copy of before the name. For now, we'll use this name. We'll show you how to rename icons shortly. For those with an external drive, it is possible to eliminate the disk swapping. place a blank disk in the external drive. An icon with DF1 bad will appear. This is to indicate the disk is not yet formatted. Don't worry, because when we copy a disk, it formats the blank disk at the same time. Move the pointer over the Workbench icon and hold the selection button down. Now move the pointer. You'll find that the icon is now attached. This is called dragging. Now drag the icon over the blank disk icon and release the mouse button. A system requester will appear telling you to place the disks in the required disk drives. Check this is correct and click on the gadget Continue. You no longer need to replace the disks. To rename your disk, click on the disk icon. Press and hold the menu button. Move the pointer over the Workbench menu and highlight the option Rename. Release the button. A long box will appear in the middle of the screen with the disk name in it. This is called a string requester. You can clear the window one character at a time with the delete or backspace key, or all of the characters at once by pressing the right Amiga key and the X key together. To return the name which was there, press the right Amiga key and the Q key together. Now place the new name in the requester. You can use up to 30 characters if you wish. Try to avoid using spaces. You'll not be able to use the colon or oblique stroke keys, as these have special meanings to the operating system. Type Workbench 1.3 and hit Return. You must label the disk with its original name and store the original in a safe place. We suggest that you duplicate all the disks which came with your computer. Make sure that you rename your backups with the original disk name, because some programs will require the original disk name for them to work correctly. After you have finished, you'll need to reset the computer so that you can use your backups. To do this, hold the Control key and the two Amiga Commodore keys located at each side of the spacebar at the same time. This is called a warm start. It clears the computer's memory and sets the computer up for a new system disk. We'll see you when you return. Welcome back. I hope you didn't have any problems copying your other disks. Make sure you've reset your computer and started it with your backup copy of the Workbench disk. Now we'll show you how to open and close an icon. There are two ways of doing this. Firstly, select the icon by clicking it once. Then hold down the menu button. Move to the menu Workbench and highlight the word Open. Release the button. You'll see a rectangle appear with small icons inside. This is called a window. The initial window represents the root directory of the disk. To close a window, click on the icon, go to the Workbench menu and highlight the Close option. The window will disappear. This is called the menu method. The other way is to move the pointer over the icon and double-click with the selection button, which is the left button. The window will appear. To close the window, place the pointer over the square in the top left corner. This is called the Close gadget. Click once with the selection button, the window will disappear. This is the clicking method. Now open the Workbench by the clicking method. Let's look at the window which has appeared. It has a number of parts called gadgets. There's the Close gadget, drag bar, front back gadgets, scroll bar, and sizing gadget. There's the disk gauge, also drawer and project icons. And we've already looked at the closing gadget. Next, we'll look at the drag bar. In the drag bar, we have the title of the disk or directory which the window belongs to. You'll notice sometimes the title looks fuzzy to read. This is called ghosting and means the window is not selected or not active. If we click anywhere in the window with the selection button, you'll see the title bar is now clear to read. We've now made this window active. The drag bar is used for moving the window around the screen. To do this, we press and hold the selection button. An outline of the window appears. Now move your mouse. You'll see the outline is attached to the pointer. We can now place the window where we wish. Simply let go of the selection button to make the window stay in its new position. On the left side of the window is the disk gauge. This gives us a visual indication of the amount of room left on the disk. E stands for empty and F stands for full. The sizing gadget is used to change the size of the window. Place the pointer on the gadget and hold the selection button. Move your mouse. See the outline of the window changing size. When you release the button, the window changes to the new size. The scroll bars and arrows allow you to display other areas of the window without changing its size. Click on the arrows. You'll see the icons move. If icons move outside of the window, or they're not shown when you open it, you'll see the scroll bars do not fill the box completely. Place the pointer on the scroll bar, hold the selection button and drag the bar. Let the button go and you'll see the icons that were not shown before. The final gadget of the window is the front and back gadgets. To see how these work, we need to open another window. Double-click on the empty drawer and another window will appear. If this is not overlaying some of your Workbench disk window, then drag it until it does. Although we can't see all of the Workbench disk window, it's still all there. Let's look at an animation to show you what happens. When we click these gadgets, the window will either move to the front or back of the screen. Now, if you wish to see all of your Workbench disk window, press once on the back gadget of the empty window. If you want the empty window forward, press once on the front gadget. If a number of windows are open, this gadget will help find the window you need without closing all of the others. Now close the empty window. Inside most windows are icons which represent some of the subdirectories and programs on the disk. It's possible to move these icons to different positions. Place the pointer over the expansion drawer. Hold the selection button down and drag the icon. Release the button. The icon will stay in this position until you move it again or until you close the window. We can also move a drawer or project icon into another drawer. Drag the empty drawer over the top of expansion drawer. Now drag the shell icon over the expansion drawer. See how they no longer appear in the window? When we open the expansion drawer, we now find the two icons inside. Let's drag them back again. Don't move your system drawer into another drawer as the Workbench needs to find it in the root directory. If you'd like to keep an icon in a new position permanently, then you must snapshot it in place. To do this, select the icon you moved, press and hold the menu button down. Move the pointer to the special menu and highlight the snapshot option. Let go of the button. The new position is saved to disk. An icon's position will only be saved if it's been selected before the snapshot option. The size of an icon's window will only be saved if, after opening the window, the icon is selected before the snapshot option. Perhaps you've moved more than one of the icons and wish to save them in their new positions. To save time, you can select more than one icon by holding the Shift key and click once on the icons to be saved. This is called extended selection. There's also an icon of a trash can. This trash can is a special directory where you can place files you no longer need without deleting them from the disk altogether. If after some time you decide you really can do without these files or you need more space, you can empty the trash can. Select the trash can icon. Hold down the menu button, move to the disk menu, highlight the empty trash option and then release the button. You will not receive any messages. All the files in the trash can will be deleted. So be careful. Let's look at the other menu options available in your Workbench. In the Workbench menu, after Rename, there is Info. Select the shell icon and then this option. A screen will appear with information about the disk or file that it represents. This includes the name, type, size, status and areas to add parameters for the operation of the program. You can change the status by clicking on the options. Select Non-Deletable if you want to protect a file from being deleted. This option is only used as you become advanced in the operation of the Amiga. For more information, read your manual on page 4/9. For now, know where it is and how to find it. The discard option. This is used to delete unwanted files. When you select this option, a requester will appear checking if you really wish to delete your file. You can delete more than one file by using the extended selection method as shown previously. Before any data can be stored onto a disk on any computer, the disk must be set up to work with its system. This is called initializing or formatting. In the disk menu, under Empty Trash Can, is the Initialize option. To operate it, place a blank disk in a disk drive. Click once on the disk to be prepared with the selection button. Choose the Initialize option from the disk menu. In a OneDrive system, a requester will appear asking for the Workbench disk. After this, you'll be asked for the disk to be formatted. You'll be asked again for the Workbench disk, and finally for the disk to be formatted. This disk swapping is because the program needed is located on the Workbench disk in the system drawer. If you have two drives, you can overcome this inconvenience. The final requester checks if you wish to continue. Click the option you wish. The program is now preparing the disk and verifying it. What the computer is doing is creating cylinders or tracks on the disk. These tracks are broken into sections called sectors, thus allowing the computer to locate any position on the disk. Don't remove the disk until the drive light has gone out. A disk icon appears with the name empty. You can rename the disk if you wish. If you'd like to straighten up icons in an open drawer, you can use the cleanup option in the special menu. Select the drawer icon, then choose the option. The computer will clean up the drawer's icons. The last error option displays the last error which appeared in the title bar. This helps you recall and check error messages against their error codes in Appendix B of your manual. Redraw is used when, for some reason, a part of a screen may not have been drawn correctly or is missing. This is not a very common problem, but remember this option is available. We've already spoken about snapshot. Next is version. This displays the currently loaded version number of the Workbench in the title bar and really is only important to software developers and support staff. The Amiga has the ability to multitask, which means it has the ability to run more than one program at a time. When you open a tool which displays its data differently to Workbench, a new screen will appear over your Workbench screen. Because of this, you'll need to be able to move from one screen to the other. This is done by dragging or pushing screens or windows. Let's show you an example. Close your Workbench window. Eject the Workbench disk and insert the extras backup copy you made. Open the disk by the clicking method. Now open the Demos drawer and double-click on the screen icon. Soon a screen like this appears. If we need to go back to our Workbench screen, we move the pointer to the title bar of the screen, hold the selection button and move the mouse down. The screen behind is a window. You can see the lines of the drag bar. We need the screen title bar. Drag the window to display the title bar. As with Windows, most screens have front and back gadgets. These gadgets work the same as the window gadgets. There are keyboard shortcuts for this. Press the key to the left of the space bar and the N key at the same time. That's N for November. For the reverse, press the key to the left and then the M key, M for Mike. As you use the Amiga more, you'll see the advantages in having the ability to change between screens. The Amiga allows you to customize the Workbench by being able to change the screen colors, the speed the mouse operates at, the image of the pointer, and the hardware you attach to it. This is done with the aid of a program called Preferences. This program allows you to customize your settings to suit the needs of the computer system you're working with. To access Preferences, load the Workbench disk into the computer. Open the disk, then open the drawer labeled Prefs. A window will appear with a number of icons. The first we'll look at is Preferences. Open the Preference icon. This screen will appear. In the top left is the Reset All gadget. This resets the preferences to initial settings placed in the program. They're called the default settings. Next is the Last Saved gadget. This resets all the settings to those last saved by you. Underneath is the Calendar and Clock. If you don't have the memory expansion, you'll need to adjust this each time you turn the computer on. The memory expansion contains a battery clock, so that once you've set and saved the calendar and clock, the time should stay correct thereafter. To adjust these, click on the number or month to change, then click the arrowheads in the direction you wish to go. To change the settings or parameters of hardware connected via the serial communications port, click on the Change Serial option. This screen contains the gadgets needed for changing the requirements for a particular use, or for an attached peripheral device. The manual for the device you attach usually contains the settings required for it to correctly communicate with the computer. Baud rate. The number of bits transferred each second. To adjust this, click on the arrowheads in the direction you wish to go. Buffer size. The memory area which the communication system will use. Again, use the arrowheads to change the settings. Read bits. The expected number of bits per character to be received by the serial connector. click on the number required. Write bits. The number of bits per character to be written through the serial connector. Once again, click on the number required. Stop bits. The number of bits added to each character to indicate its end. This is for both reading and writing each character. Click on the number required. Parity, used for reducing transmission errors. Click on the option required. Handshaking controls the flow of information through the serial connector. Click on the gadget you need. If you change any of these options and wish to use them, then click OK. Click Cancel to close the window without using any changes. The text option is for the number of characters across the screen. If you're using a television monitor, we suggest you use 60. For a computer monitor, use 80. Click on the gadget you wish. In the middle of the screen is the display centering gadget. Place the pointer on the right angle, hold the selection button and move your mouse. This moves the complete screen. Adjust the window so that the screen is completely centered on your monitor or TV. The gadgets above this are for the keyboard. The key repeat speed adjusts the speed at which keys are repeated. To increase this speed, drag the slider to the right. To decrease this speed, drag the slider to the left. The key repeat delay adjusts the time needed to hold down a key before it's repeated. Adjust this the same way as the key repeat speed. Press and hold the selection button, then drag the mouse left or right. The Workbench Interlace selector changes the display to interlace, which means it doubles the amount of horizontal lines upon the screen. Later, click it on. Save your settings and warm start your computer to see the effect. The following two selectors are for the mouse. On the left is the mouse speed gadget. Click on the different speeds and see the difference. To its right is the double click delay. By dragging the slider down, you increase the time needed between each click when operating or activating an icon. It is possible to change the color scheme of the workbench. Select the color to change, then drag the sliders in each of the elements. R for red, G for green, and B for blue. If you change the colors, then decide you don't like the new color, simply select Reset Colors. The colors used when you opened the window will appear. There are a total of 4,096 color combinations to choose from. Changing the parameters for your particular printer is done when we select Change Printer. We'll show this screen after we've loaded the printer driver for your type of printer. To change the image of our pointer, select Edit Pointer. The large magnified picture is where we work on the pointer. Select the color you wish to use, then click in the screen area displaying the magnified pointer. You can use the gadgets listed to restore the pointer back to the image you started with. The Clear gadget clears the drawing area. The Restore Color gadget changes the colors back to what they were when you opened the screen. Each pointer has a single square or pixel, which is its point. When selecting something on the screen, this point must be over it. Set Point is for positioning this pixel. Click on Set Point and then click on the position you want the selection point to be. If you're happy with your changes, click OK. If you want to keep your old pointer, click Cancel. The last gadgets are for saving your new setting, including your printer, serial and pointer options. Alternatively, you can just use these settings for this session on the computer. Or finally, you can cancel and revert to the settings you had before you entered preferences. The three icons, pointer, printer and serial, will simply place you directly to the appropriate screen without going through the preference screen. After you've made your changes, you'll return to the preference screen to select Save, Use or Cancel. Then you'll return to the Workbench screen. Copy Prefs is for copying preferences from an assigned disk to another disk which boots the computer. If you have a non-booting hard disk, we suggest you read page 111 of your Enhancer software booklet for a better understanding of this program. Turn the video off and customize your preferences using your backup copy of the Workbench disk. And when you return, we'll look at the Utilities drawer. Now open the Utilities drawer. You'll find some of these programs very handy when using your Workbench. Install Printer is for placing your printer driver from the extras disk you received with your computer to the devs directory of your Workbench disk, where it will be needed to operate your printer. If you have two drives, place your extras disk in the external drive. Double-click on the Install Printer icon. If you only have one drive, you'll be required to swap the Workbench and extras disks a number of times. Finally, a list of printer names will appear. Because there are so many types of printers available for computers, we suggest if your printer is not listed here, then you look in the printer's manual for a compatible driver which appears here. If you still don't have any success, then contact the dealer you purchased the equipment from or the manufacturer of your printer. To select a driver, simply type the name exactly how it's listed. For the underline symbol, use the shift hyphen. If an error is made, you'll be asked if you wish to try again. Type Y for yes and hit return. OneDrive users will be asked to swap disks a number of times during the copying process. At the completion, you'll be asked to use Preferences and the window will close. Read page 4/3 of the Enhancer software manual for the setup parameters of your printer. Now open the Prefs drawer. Double-click on the printer icon. You'll see the printer window of Preferences appear. Select the gadget for the port you connected your printer to, parallel or serial. Use the arrowheads to select your printer driver. If you select Custom, type the driver file name in the string requester provided. Select the paper size you're likely to use the most. US letter is 8.5 inches wide and 11 inches long. US legal is 8.5 inches wide and 14 inches long. Narrow tractor is 9.5 inches wide and 11 inches long, and wide tractor is 14 7/8 inches wide and 11 inches long. If you're using paper of a different size, then select Custom. Now select the Lines requester and type the correct amount of lines necessary for your paper. This may require a little bit of trial and error testing and will depend on the lines per inch selection. There are requesters for the size of the margins you require on your page. If you've selected text 80 from your preferences, then having your left margin on 5 and the right on 75, you'll have a 5-character margin on each side of your page. Paper type. Fanfold is for continuous paper used with a tractor feed mechanism. The paper is pushed or pulled through the printer. Single is for people feeding single sheets of paper into their printer. It allows the printer to stop for paper loading at each page. Useful if you use a pre-printed stationery. To select this option and others, click once on the one you wish. Quality. Draft is the standard printer setting for dumping your work fast to the printer as a draft or proofing copy. Letter stands for letter quality. This is usually only used for your final presentation quality output. It's the best your printer can achieve. Try each and see the difference. Pitch. This is the actual horizontal size, or the pitch between characters, of the printer's typeface, measured in characters per inch. The normal setting is pica, or 10 characters per inch. You can also select Elite, which is 12 characters per inch, and Fine, which is 15. Spacing. This is the vertical spacing of the printer's typeface. Select between 6 lines per inch and 8 lines per inch. The first yields 66 lines per page and the later yields 87 lines per page. If you have a graphics printer, you'll need to check the graphics options. Click on Graphics 1. Threshold is used for black and white printing and determines which colours will be black or white. To adjust this, drag the arrow slider in the direction you want. Dragging to the 2 setting will only allow the darkest colours to be printed black and the rest will be white. Dragging to 14 will do the opposite. Aspect. This allows you to print sideways on your paper or the normal way. Selecting horizontal will mean the graphic will be printed across the paper, where vertical will make the graphic print down the paper. Image is for black and white or grayscale printing. Positive will print the image as it appears on the screen. Negative will reverse the image. Shade is for selecting the type of printing you wish. Grayscale 2 is for those using the A2024 monitor. After choosing your options, select OK. Let's check the Graphics 2 options. Click on the Graphics 2 gadget. These options are used for top-end colour printouts and for fine-tuning your graphical output, for example, desktop publishing. These options are documented in page 1/8 of your Enhancer software manual. If you fall into this category or you wish to improve your graphics or colour printouts, we suggest you read this chapter carefully. When you've made your selections, click on the OK gadget. You'll return to the printer screen. By selecting the OK gadget, you'll see the preference screen. Now you can save your selections or use them for this session only. Make a selection. This concludes the first segment of the Amiga 500 program. A second videotape in the series is available from where you purchased this video. For details of the complete range of learning made easier... Hi, welcome to our video on the Amiga 500. We'll be using Workbench version 1.3 for this video, but you'll find that the operation of Workbench is very similar with all versions, the only difference being that a few programs may not appear on the other versions. You'll also notice the different coloured screen. This was done to allow you to see the screen better, and we'll show you how to do this yourself during the video. This is the second videotape in the series on Amiga 500. The first videotape in the series is available from where you purchased this video. For details of the complete range of learning made easy on video, write to Home Study Video, Post Office Box 723, Gosford, New South Wales 2250. Notepad. The Notepad tool is for writing either small messages to yourself, or if you wish, you can use it as a simple letter writer. Double-click on the icon. A small window will appear. Using the drag bar and the sizing gadget, resize the window. The straight line you see in the window is the text cursor. This is the position the text will appear at when you type. The cursor will not move to an area which has not been typed on before. Apart from the standard gadgets on this window, there are 3 other gadgets. 1 is the previous page gadget. Select this gadget and the notepad moves back to the previous page. 2 is the next page gadget. Select this gadget and the notepad moves to the next page. And finally, there's the scroll gadgets. Selecting either of these scrolls the page 1 line at a time in the corresponding direction. The notepad is menu driven. Hold the menu button down and browse through the menus. Most are self-explanatory. As the notepad has quite a number of features and we're limited in time, we'll only give you a few hints to help you understand this program. For a detailed explanation of the options, refer to page 5.7 of your Amiga 500 manual and try the options out. Most are self-explanatory. Follow the hints, and remember, you can't hurt anything. If you don't tell the program, it will automatically save your notes in the same drawer where the program notepad is located. As you won't have much room on your Workbench disk to save notes to, you might need to save your notes to another disk. When saving notes to a different disk for the first time, select Save or Save As. A requester will appear asking for a file name. Before typing the file name, you should have a formatted storage, known as a data disk, ready. If you're only using the internal drive of the Amiga 500, then type the name of the formatted storage disk with a colon suffix, then add the file name you want the information stored under. When you press return, you'll be asked to place the disk with the name you typed in into the disk drive. Type DF1. If you have an external disk drive, then the file name. You may have a drawer or directory on the disk to save your note to. Type the name of the directory, then an oblique stroke, followed directly by a file name. If you wish to open files saved on another disk, you must direct the program in the same way. For example, note disk, note file name. The edit options help move and edit text within the note. To mark text you wish to edit, double-click at the start and double-click at the end. Your selected text will be highlighted. You can now cut or copy your highlighted text. When you cut or copy text, it's held in a clipboard until you cut or copy another piece of text. When moving text you have cut or copied, you must first reposition your text cursor, then select Paste, and your text will appear in the new position. The other options help find and replace words within your note. The next menu allows you to select different types and sizes of fonts. You'll see another window appear each time you highlight a type of font. You'll need to move the pointer over the numbers and highlight them for selection. A tick will appear next to the font which is currently selected and active. The Style menu allows you to change the style of the font you select. It is possible to use more than one style. Hold the menu button down. At the options you wish, click the selection button. This is called the multiple choice technique. When you've finished your selections, release the menu button. These options will exist from then on. You must select Plain to reset the font. If you move your text cursor to a position within the note and select a style, then the style will affect all those characters after the cursor. The final menu assists you with the color of the notepad and text, also wrapping the word at the end of the line. Global font must be deselected if you wish to combine more than one type of font in your note. To use Remove Font and Remove Style, you must first place the text cursor in front of the area you want to change. When you close Notepad with either the Close gadget or the Quit option in the Project menu, you'll not be asked if you wish to save your note. Therefore, if you have not saved it, then your work will be lost. When you open a drawer with a note in it, you will see this icon. To read the note, double-click on the icon. You may find if a note is saved on another disk, a system requester will appear asking for the Workbench disk. This is because the note was created with the Notepad program from the Workbench disk. Once you follow the requesters, the note will appear as you saved it. Say. The Say tool gives you simple access to the Amiga's built-in speech capabilities. Double-click on the Say icon. Two windows will appear. Click the Input window so it becomes active. Type a sentence in the Input window. And don't worry if the sentence wraps to the next line. Check your volume is turned up and press return. The phoneme window displays the sentence in a phonetic interpretation of what you typed. The numbers are for the period a sound needs to be said. You can adjust the voice with the options displayed in the phoneme window. Type -P 100, -S 200, -R. Hit return. Now press the up arrow key. The same sentence will appear. Hit return and hear the difference. Change the settings and listen to the changes. The -X option can only be used in the command line interface, or the CLI, which will be explained later in the program. To close the Say tool, press return without typing anything else within the input window. The More tool is used to display ASCII text files. This type of file is produced by the Notepad tool or text editors and is saved as normal text instead of numbers or codes. To use this tool in Workbench, simply double-click on the icon. A window will appear asking for the file name you wish to read. Type in the file name. If the file is on another disk or in a different directory, you must type the full path to the file. The file will be displayed by More. In the bottom corner will be the amount of the file viewed so far. For commands available with More, press the H key. A screen will appear with the keys to press and their effect. You can also activate this program by selecting the More icon, and then while holding down the Shift key, double-click on the File icon. Read page 1/13 of the Enhancer software manual for more information on this command. The calculator provided is a standard 4-function type: addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Double-click on the calculator icon. You can see the gadgets available to this tool. The calculator cannot be resized. To use it, click on the buttons required. CA stands for Clear All. CE stands for Clear Entry. The star symbol is for multiplication and the oblique stroke is for division. The arrow is for moving back one place value, if, for example, you've placed too many numbers in the screen. It's possible to use the numbers and functions on the number pad or the numbers and functions from the top of the keyboard. Let's look at the clock. The clock icon will display the time from Preferences. Double-click on the icon. A standard clock face will appear. If the time is wrong, open Preferences and correct it. Notice the gadgets. Click anywhere in the clock, press the menu button and browse through the menus. Try the different options for yourself. For more information, read page 5/1 of your Amiga 500 manual. Clock PTR, or clock pointer. This program will change your pointer into a digital clock, but only when the Workbench screen is active. Double-click on the icon, move the pointer out of window and select the Workbench screen. Move the pointer to the left-hand corner. The minutes and seconds will be displayed. Move the pointer to the left-hand side and the month and day appear. When you select another program, the pointer reverts to the original until you select the Workbench screen. To turn the clock pointer off, double-click on the icon again. CMD. It means command. The CMD program redirects command rights to a designation file. This program would be for more advanced users. For more information, read page 1/12 of your Enhancer manual. Print files. The Print Files tool is for copying files to your printer. Make sure your printer options in Preferences are correct and your printer is turned on and is in the online state. Using the extended selection function, select the files you wish to print and then double-click on the Print Files icon. Graphic Dump. The Graphic Dump tool is for printing entire graphics or text screens. After you double-click on this icon, you have about 10 seconds to maneuver the screen, menus or windows so your desired screen is foremost on the display. There are options to this command which can be used in the command line interface. Read page 1/15 of your Enhancer manual for these options. CLI stands for Command Line Interface or Command Line Interpreter. The CLI gives us the ability to communicate with the computer and access those programs which do not have icons. We'll discuss the CLI further when we look at the shell project, which is found in the root directory window. Disk Copy. By double-clicking on this icon, you'll be directed to the duplicate option of the Workbench menu. Click Cancel and continue. Format. This is the same. When you activate this icon, you'll be directed to the Initialize option of the Disk menu. Click OK and continue. Fast Mem First. If you've installed the memory expansion to your Amiga 500, then you can select this tool, which will direct the computer to use this new memory first. This will enhance the operation of some programs and system commands. This program is activated during the startup of the computer when using the Workbench disk. Copy this to other disks you may create. No Fast Mem. Some old programs may not work with the fast memory expansion which you may have installed. If problems should occur when using some software, turn your fast memory off by double-clicking on this icon. To turn your memory back on, double-click on the icon again. For the computer to know the right character to display when you press a key, it must use a key map. There are a number of key maps to choose from, although only one is on your Workbench 1.3 disk. This is the USA 1 key map. To be able to use any other key map, you must first copy one from the devs key map directory of your extras disk to the devs key map directory of your Workbench disk using the shell interface. Then select the Set Map icon. Go to the Workbench menu and choose the Info option. When the window appears, you click on the Add Gadget and a cursor will appear. Now type key maps equals and whatever the name of your substitute key map is. In this case, we'll say USA 0. Now select the Save gadget. When you double-click on the Set Map icon, the computer will load the USA 0 key map. Each time you reset the computer and load the Workbench disk, key map USA 1 will load. Merge Mem. The Merge Memory tool is used to merge additional memory boards in your Amiga. To activate the Merge Mem, simply double-click on the icon. The program will now attempt to configure all the additional memory together to form one large pool of memory. This can only be done if the memory boards have the same attributes. A message will appear if no merging was possible. Init Printer basically means initialize printer. By double-clicking on this icon, you will initialize or prepare your printer with the settings you selected in Preferences. The Fix Fonts tool is used to update the information in the fonts directory, which include the different sizes and types of fonts available. If you should make any changes to your fonts subdirectories, you should run Fix Fonts to update those directory changes. Expansion Drawer. The expansion drawer can be used to locate programs which operate additional peripherals. You can discard or rename it if you do not intend to expand your system. Empty Drawer. This drawer can be used as a template for other drawers you may create. Select the empty drawer, then choose the duplicate option in the Workbench menu. You'll have another icon with copy of empty under it. Now select the copied icon and use the rename menu option to rename it. You now have a new drawer or subdirectory ready for use. Remember, you have to select and snapshot icons to save them in a particular position. The more conventional way of operating a computer is to type in every command and direct the computer through a path to find a file. This can be done with the Amiga through the command line interface, the CLI, which was shown to you in the system drawer or the shell. You'll need to learn the operation of these two tools. This will allow you to access all the files on your disks. To open, double-click on the shell and CLI icons. There are a number of differences between the shell and the CLI. The main one is the shell has a history facility and online editing of commands. This allows the user to call up previously used commands and edit them or use them again. Another feature the shell has over the CLI is that it can allow aliases. An alias can save typing out long, commonly used commands. It'll take time and practice to understand the operation of the shell and CLI, and this should be seen only as an introduction to this environment. We suggest you read Chapter 7 of your Amiga 500 manual and Chapter 2 of the Enhancer manual for a complete explanation of individual commands. Also, keep an eye out for tutorial information on the Amiga disk operating system, commonly called Amiga-DOS. Good sources are Amiga user groups, print magazines, and disk magazines like Megadisk, which has a complete disk full of explanations on Amiga-DOS commands and batch files. Now back to the screen. The windows which appear can be sized, dragged, or layered with other windows. In the corner is a prompt. The number indicates the number of the active shell or CLI window. It is possible to have many shells and CLIs open at one time. Click in the shell window. Type New CLI or New Shell. More windows will appear. To close a CLI or shell window, type End CLI. With the CLI, the only other symbol is greater than, but with the shell, the letters SYS : exist. These letters will change as you move throughout your disks and will identify the current directory you're working in. To see how the prompt changes, we'll type CD for Change Directory Utilities. See the change in the prompt. If you don't specify a path to the computer for a command, then it will perform its task to the current directory. When working within the shell and CLI environment, you must use the correct format for each command. Otherwise, you'll receive an error message like bad arguments. Symbols used are the semicolon, which is used after a device. Also the oblique stroke, which is used to separate parent and subdirectories. In the Enhancer manual, page 2.2, there are descriptions of a template. Some of the commands are enclosed in quotes or inverted commas. These are not needed when typing out your commands. At some stage, you'll see a system requester telling you error validating disk, or disk is unreadable. Use disk doctor to retrieve some of the files on the disk. This command can be accessed through your shell or CLI. At the prompt, type disk doctor and the drive you wish to place the corrupt disk into. Disk Doctor will ask a question. When it finds a corrupt file, simply answer Y for yes or N for no. After Disk Doctor has finished, you'll need to copy the good files to another disk. Don't use disk copy, as this will simply copy the error to the other disk as well. If you only have the internal drive, you need to copy the files to RAM, then to a new disk. Only copy the files which you don't already have originals for. Format the old disk before using it again. As we said, it will take time and practice, but once you can use the shell and CLI correctly, it will help you in understanding how your computer works, and you'll be able to customize your disks and troubleshoot your system. The Extras disk, which comes with your computer, contains a number of programs to show you the performance of the Amiga and also to allow you to create your own icons and fonts. Firstly, the tool drawer. The FED icon is for a font editor. This will allow you to create new fonts or alter existing fonts. Make sure you're working with a backup copy of your fonts, because once you alter them, you cannot select a gadget to reset them. The FED is explained in detail in the Enhancer Manual, page 6/1. FreeMap. Simply click on this program. It will graphically display your chip and fast memory usage. This program has a couple of menu options for exiting and information. PerfMon. Double-click on this icon to see how the CPU and RAM fluctuate when they're used. This program has some menu options for the length of time between each performance read. IconEd. IconEd is an icon editor. This can be used to alter or create your own icons for your disks, drawers, tools, projects or trash can. This program is documented in your Amiga 500 manual on page 5/31. When icons are saved, they are given into a .info extension to the end of the file name. When loading an icon, type in the path and use the name which appears below the icon. Make your changes and save it away. You can save a new icon with a different name so you don't lose the original. Alternatively, you could create a drawer, a subdirectory, to store different types of icons to use at a later date. When saving, you can either save the whole working frame or frame the image. Click the frame and save gadget. Click the selection button in the top corner and move your mouse to the bottom corner. Notice the wire frame. Click the selection button when you have positioned this frame. Try these two gadgets and see the difference. When you change an icon image of a program, make sure that you use the same type. To see the type of icon, use the Info option in the Workbench menu. Rename the original, then drag the new icon into the same drawer. Now rename the new icon with the name of the program you wish it to activate. This can also be done with a shell or CLI. Be sure to use the .info extension. KeyToy 2000. This program displays the characters which are currently loaded in the key map of the computer. Click on the different key combinations and see the effect. Palette. Palette can be used to temporarily change the colour of a screen. You cannot save this colour change to disk. If changing a screen other than the Workbench screen, firstly open this screen, drag it halfway down, then load in Palette. You can then make your adjustments. Select the colour and use the sliders the same as with Preferences. Icon Merge. Icon Merge is for creating animated icon, the same as the icon which represents this program. It can also be used to split an animated icon into two separate icons. Double-click on the icon. A window will appear asking if you wish to merge or split an icon. Choose the required option with an M or an S and press Return. If you choose M, you will be asked to type in the first icon name, including the path, and then the second icon name. Then you'll be asked for the final path and name for the newly created merged icon. If you wish to cancel this, leave out a final name and the program will abort. When splitting an icon, you need to enter the opposite information. First, enter the icon to split, then the name of the two icons you want taken from it. Remember to type the paths needed. Amiga Basic is a high-level interpreted computer language. It stands for Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instructions Code. You may use this programming language to write your own programs on the Amiga. There are a number of books available on the subject which are available from bookstores and computer outlets. Also, courses run through TAFE and other private institutions. To open, double-click on the icon. Basic Demos. This is a drawer with a number of programs written in BASIC. Double-click on the icons to run. After the program has been loaded, you can manipulate it with menu options. Select the Show List option to see the program code. PC Util. Utilities, basically. This drawer has utilities for those using the A1020 5¼ disk drive. Double-click on the README file for an explanation of the programs available. Fonts and Devs. These drawers have no icons, but through a shell or CLI, you'll be able to see the files which reside in these directories. This brings us to the end of our video on the Amiga Workbench. As we said, it'll take time to fully understand the power and flexibility of this machine. And we trust that we've given you a good grounding for your computing future. Good luck.